Watch that wrestling match you got on the back.
It is draft day. We're almost here. The NFL draft is tomorrow, everybody. We got a big show coming to you. We're going to go through the Bigten players that were invited to the combine and where they are going to be drafted. Let's just get it started here. Dive right in because we got a lot of athletes to get through. Um, we're going to start with Rutgers and Indiana. They both have one athlete uh, that was coming out. Punter Adam Korsak for Rutgers. I have him undrafted, fellows. I don't know about you if you guys agree there, but I do have him undrafted.
Yeah, Corsac, sixth round, 206 to Cincinnati.
He's
I
undrafted for me.
I have Corsac in the 5th round to the LA Rams at 177.
Okay. Indiana, what about linebacker Cam Jones?
Fifth round, 170, New York Jets.
All right.
Fifth
Corey?
round,
Oh, go ahead, Drew.
5th round, Carolina, 145.
Corey?
And I have him in the 5th round as well at 142 to the Cleveland Browns.
Awesome. Next up, we got
Like
two
it.
players out of Sparty. We got wide receiver Jaden Reed and punter Bryce Beringer or Beringer. Who do you have coming out of there, or what? Do you guys have him undrafted, or what round, team, and pick? Go ahead, Ethan. Just keep that rotation going.
I got Jaden Reed, third round, 93, Carolina Panthers. And I got Bryce Behringer, seventh round, 223 to the LA Rams.
Already, Drew.
I have Jaden Reed in the 3rd round going to the Buffalo Bills at number 90. And then I have Bryce Behringer as my number 1 punter going in the 5th round to the LA Rams at 171.
Corey, your two Sparty
Um,
picks.
I've got Jaden Reed, the wide receiver. I've got him going 68 to the Denver Broncos. And
Okay.
for Bryce Behringer, punter, undrafted.
Alrighty. Next up we got three players out of Nebraska. Coming out, we got wide receiver Trey Palmer, tight end Travis Vokalek, and linebacker O'Shawn Mathis. Go ahead with the same order. Just keep it rolling.
Yep. So I actually have Vokalek as an undrafted free agent, and then I actually did not get time to get the other two.
No worries. Go ahead. Where do you
Uh,
think they're going right now, Ethan? Just spit it out.
Ooh,
Off the
let's
dome.
see here. Off the dome, give me Trey Palmer, wide receiver. Let's have him going in. I got him in the sixth round, 211, Minnesota. And then Ochan Mathis, edge. I have in the 5th round, 175 to Tampa Bay.
Alrighty. Go ahead, Drew. Keep it rolling.
All right. I am not as high on Trey Palmer as most people are. I have Palmer in the 5th round going to Buffalo, 137. Vokalek is undrafted free agent, and Mathis is a 7th round draft pick for the Giants at 254.
Core.
I have Trey Palmer going to the Kansas City Chiefs in the 4th round at number 134. As for Vokalek, he is undrafted for me. And then O'Shawn Mathis, I have going the last pick of the 6th round to the Chiefs as well at 217.
Alrighty. Next up we got Wisconsin with another three. Um, offensive lineman Joe Tipman, defensive lineman Keanu Benton, and linebacker Nick Herberg. Herbig. Sorry.
All right, Keanu Benton, I have him defensive lineman. Second round, 54 to the Chargers. I've got the linebacker Nick Herbig. I have him in the fourth round at Arizona at 105. And then on Tipman, I have him in the late second round also. And I have him going to Chicago at 61.
I would love to have Keanu Benton at 72 for the Cleveland Browns. Unfortunately, he won't be there. I have Benton in the second round going to Green Bay with the 45th pick. Nick Herbig is listed as a linebacker. He's more of an edge player. So I have him going third round to Atlanta at 75. And then Joe Tippmann is a rising interior offensive lineman. He can play center and guard. I have him going in the second round to Seattle at 37.
For me, I have Benton as well going in the second round. I actually as well have him going to the Packers, but I have him going at number 42. For Nick Herbig, he is a third round pick in my opinion as well. I have him going 65 to the Houston Texans. And then Tippmann, I believe, is a second round pick as well. And I have him going 43 to the Jets.
Cool. Awesome. Drew, who do you have on today? I was trying to see there and it looked like a Dross Cribs, but it's definitely not.
It's a Brian Hoyer.
Oh,
I
Brian
uh,
Hoyer.
yeah,
All right.
kind of repping a
Nice.
little Big Ten.
Love it, love it. We do have up next the Northwestern Wildcats. We got four guys from there. We got running back Evan Hull, offensive lineman Peter Skronsky, defensive lineman. I'm not going to try to butcher his last
Mhm.
name or his entire name.
Tomi Adebawore.
That guy.
Yeah,
And
a
defensive
dog.
back Cameron Mitchell.
All right. So I have Peter Skronsky going in the first round. Peter Skronsky, round one, pick 7. Tommy Adebawore, Atlanta Falcons, round 2, pick 44. Cameron Mitchell, Las Vegas Raiders, round 5, 141. And then I've got Evan Hall to Pittsburgh in round 7 at 251.
Alrighty. Drew?
All right. Skoronsky is like he's my tackle 1A. So Paris Johnson's 1B. I got
Okay.
Skoronsky going Baware, going in the second round to the Patriots. Uh, don't have a number there, but Patriots second round pick. Evan Hall, I've seen some people call him a sleeper. I don't know about that. 203. And then Cam Mitchell is a nice cornerback, should be a good late round pick. I have him in the fifth round going to Green Bay at 170.
So for me, I have Peter Skoronsky as my number one tackle in the draft. I think he could go higher than most people think, but I have him going 10th to the Philadelphia Eagles. Tommy, however Drew said it, I have him going. I have him going in the second round. Pick number 37 to the Seattle Seahawks. Evan Hall, I think, is kind of a late round guy to watch. I have him going in the sixth round at pick 214 to the Las Vegas Raiders. And then Cameron Mitchell, again, is, I think, a late round gem, and I have him at 205 in the sixth round for the Buffalo Bills.
Okay. Next up, we do have Illinois, the Fighting Illini. They got four that were invited to the combine. That would be running back Chase Brown, defensive back Sidney Brown, defensive back Jartavius Martin, and defensive back Devin Witherspoon, who is featured right here.
All right. Definitely like this class out of Illinois. Devon Witherspoon, round one, pick six to the Detroit Lions, rising up the boards. Then I've got Sidney Brown to Tampa Bay, round three, pick 82. And right behind him, Jartavius Martin, Seattle Seahawks, round three, 83. And I'm going to close out Illinois with Chase Brown, staying in Chicago Bearland, round four, pick 103.
Alrighty.
All right. Well, I agree with Devon Witherspoon. I have him going number 6 to Detroit. He's cornerback number 1 for me. Uh, Sidney Brown, I have in the third round going to Green Bay at 78. And Jartavius Martin, I also have in the third round going to New England at 76. And then Chase Brown, I have in the fourth round going to Pittsburgh at 120.
Corey.
So for me, Devin Witherspoon, again, number one corner. I also see him going to the Detroit Lions, so I hope we're all correct there. Um, for Chase Brown, I think he needs to go to a team that has some depth that he can kind of play behind, and I actually have him going to 148 to the Chicago Bears in round five. Sidney Brown, I think, is a little bit slept on here, and I have him going early in the third round to the Arizona Cardinals at pick 66. And Jertavius Martin, I have him going 84 to the Miami Dolphins.
Alrighty. Um, I like all those picks. I like all those picks. Minnesota, the Golden Gophers are up next. They had 4 invited, including their star running back, Mohamed Ibrahim, offensive lineman, John Michael Schmitz, defensive back, Jordan Howden, and defensive back, Terrell Smith.
Yes, John Michael Schmitz has definitely crept into first round territory. Cincinnati Bengals, round one, pick 28 here. Mohamed Ibrahim, New Orleans Saints, round seven, 227. Terrell Smith, Seattle, round four, pick 123. And Jordan Howden, I have going to the Miami Dolphins, round seven, 238.
I Michael Schmitz might be slept on a little bit. I think he's far and away the number one center in this draft. I have him in the first round going to the Giants at 25. Terrell Smith could be a nice late cornerback with some potential. I have him in the fourth round going to Kansas City at 122. Mo Ibrahim seems like he was injured his entire career. So he'll be lucky to be drafted. I think I have him in the seventh round going to the Chargers at 239. And Jordan Howden, I also have in the seventh round going to Seattle at 237.
So for me, John Michael Schmitz, I don't think he's first round yet. I think he's creeping in. He's definitely one of the top centers there. I have him going early on in the second round at pick 33 right now, which is the Houston Texans. Um, for Terrell Smith, I think he is a fourth round pick. I've got him at 124 to the Baltimore Ravens. Mohamed Ibrahim, as you stated, with all of his injuries, he's very talented, but I think his injuries are kind of a concern. I think he goes undrafted. And I have Jordan Howden in the seventh round as Mr. Irrelevant, 259.
Already. I like that. I like that. Up next is the Iowa Hawkeyes, who I'm not sure how they got 5 players invited off of their season last year, but they did. It was start
Probably
out with,
five drafted.
well, it all starts with the creme de la creme of what Iowa Hawkeye football is known for, tight ends. With their tight end Sam Laporta, defensive lineman Lucas Van Ness, linebacker Jack Campbell, defensive back Kavion Merriweather, and defensive back Riley Moss.
Yeah, Lucas Van Ness is the star of this Iowa class for me. I have him going round 1, pick 20 to Seattle. Then I've got Sam Laporta, tight end to the Dallas Cowboys, round 2, pick 58. Jack Campbell, Philadelphia Eagles, round 2, pick 62. Riley Moss to New England, round 4, pick 117. And I've got Kayvon Merriweather to the Cleveland Browns, round 6, 190.
Woof woof.
I dig it. Yeah, Lucas Van Ness is the best of this group. I have him in the first round going 14. I think Belichick would love Moss. So I don't know if you guys know this or not, but the last true white cornerback to regularly start in the NFL was Jason Sehorn, and he hasn't played since 2002. So Riley Moss is a true white cornerback, not a safety. I have him going in the 4th round to Minnesota at 119. I love Jack Campbell. I call him the general. If it was 1985, he would be a top 5 pick. Unfortunately, the game's changed. I have him going in the 2nd round to the New York Jets at 43. I think Sam Laporta would have been thought of higher had he had an offense, someone to get him the ball. But he was on that black hole. I have him in the 2nd round going to Cincinnati at number 60. And then Kayvon Merriweather, I have Arizona at 180.
I dig it. I dig it. Core man.
So for me, Lucas Van Ness, as you all stated, he's a first round pick for me. I have him going 17 to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not something I wanted to do, but had to. Riley Moss, great corner. I have him actually going in the end of the last pick of the 3rd round to the San Francisco 49ers. Sam Laporta, I agree, is a really good tight end, and I would love to see him potentially maybe fall to the Bengals. However, I think he goes in the 2nd round to the New England Patriots, which is pick 46, I believe. Kayvon Merriweather, for me, goes in the 7th round. And I have him at pick 226 to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I can dig it. I can dig it.
Okay.
Next up, we got Purdue, the Boilermakers, Big Ten West Division champions. They got They got 5 guys that they sent to the combine. Their quarterback Aiden O'Connell, wide receiver Charlie Jones, tight end Payne Durham, linebacker Jalen Graham, and defensive back Corey Trice Jr.
Yeah, I like Payne Durham going in the 3rd round to the Green Bay Packers at 78. They need a tight end. Let's see, Aiden O'Connell, I have going in the 6th round, 204 to the Las Vegas Raiders. Charlie Jones, round 6, 215 to the Commanders. Corey Trice, 3rd round, Minnesota, pick 87. And I actually have Jalen Graham as an undrafted free agent.
Okay, I can dig that. Can dig that. Drew.
I have Payne Durham going in the 5th round to Seattle at 151. He's an excellent blocker, decent receiver. Charlie Jones, I have in the 6th round going to Jacksonville at 185. Corey Trice, I think, is the best out of this group. I have him in the 3rd round to Baltimore at 86. Aiden O'Connell, I have in the 7th round going to the Indianapolis Colts at 236. And then Jalen Graham is undrafted.
Core.
So I'll start with Jalen Graham and Aiden O'Connell. I have them both being undrafted free agents. I think they both will find a spot in the NFL, just because it just seems like they're meant to play. But I don't think they're going to be drafted. Um, as for Payne Durham, I have him at the end of the fourth round to 134 to the Kansas City Chiefs. Maybe another steal like Travis Kelce. Um, Charlie Jones, I really like Charlie Jones. I think he'll find a spot. I have him at 142 to the Cleveland Browns.
Okay.
And then Corey Trice is kind of someone I think is really slept on, and I think he really deserves to be at the kind of back end of a good defense. And I think I have him going 62 in the second round of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Nice.
Alrighty. Um, we got Maryland up next. We only got Maryland, Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan left. We got Maryland. They have 7 guys that are coming out of the combine. They have wide receiver Jacob Copeland, wide receiver Dante Demas Jr., wide receiver Raheem Jarrett, offensive lineman Jalen Duncan, defensive back Deontay Banks, defensive back Jakarian Bennett, and kicker Chad Ryland.
All right, let's see here. Down in Jacksonville, we go. Uh, Best player out of Maryland to me is Deontay Banks. I have him going to Jacksonville, round one, pick 24. Then I've got Jalen Duncan, the Jets, round two, pick 43. I've got Raheem Jarrett to the Cleveland Browns, round four, 111. Dante Demas Jr. to Buffalo, round four, 130. Jakorian Bennett, Arizona Cardinals, round five, 168. Jacob Copeland to the Rams, round five, 171. And the kicker, Chad Ryland to the 49ers, round seven, 255.
Drew.
Yeah, so Deontay Banks definitely the best out of this group. I have him going in the first round to the Pittsburgh Steelers at 17. Uh, Jalen Duncan, I'm a little high on. I got him in the second round going to Miami at 51. Raheem Jarrett I think, is the best of these three receivers. I have him going in the fourth round to Chicago at 136. Dante Demas in the fifth round to Minnesota at 158. Jacob Copeland in the fifth round to Detroit at 159. Jakorian Benton might be a little underrated. I have him in the fifth round going to the Giants at 160. And then Chad Ryland, I have in the sixth round going to the Rams at 182.
Corbin.
Devontae Banks, I have going in the first round at 23 to the Minnesota Vikings. Jalen Duncan as a second round pick. I have him going to my Cincinnati Bengals in the second round. As for Raheem Jarrett, I do agree that he is the best receiver out of those options, and I have him going to the Los Angeles Rams in the third round at pick 69. Dante Demas Jr., I have as a sixth round pick. I don't really have a team, but I just have 162 written down. Jacob Copeland, to me, is undrafted. I just don't know that there's so many other small schools with receivers. It just can't feels like some of these guys that you should be drafted just aren't going to get drafted. And then Chad Ryland, undrafted.
Already. Next up's Penn State. They had 7 guys invited to the combine, being wide receiver Mitchell Tensley, wide receiver Parker Washington, tight end Brenton Strange, offensive lineman Juice Struggs, defensive lineman PJ Mustafer, defensive back J.R. Brown, and defensive back Joey Porter Jr.
All right, Penn State University. Joey Porter to me, far and away number one of their class. I have a number one round on his name also. Pick 14 to the New England Patriots. Jair Brown, I have to my Colts in round 379. Parker Washington to Denver, round 4 to 108. I've got Mitch Tinsley undrafted. PJ Mustipher, I have him at the Rams, round 6, 189. And then Juice Scruggs to the Houston Texans, round 6, 201.
Yeah, Joey Porter definitely number one in this class or in this group. I have him going first round to the Washington football team at 16. Parker Washington is a nice receiver, could be a nice late round pickup for someone. I have him in the fourth round going to New England at 107. Jair Brown, I would love to have in Cleveland, but I have him in the third round going to San Francisco at 99. PJ Mustafer, just a very good nose tackle, just in there to stop the run. I have him in the sixth round going to Buffalo at 205. Juice Scruggs, I have in the sixth round going to the LA Chargers at 191. And Mitch Tinsley is undrafted.
Alrighty, core.
So I have Joey Porter Jr. going 21 in the first round to the Los Angeles Chargers. Parker Washington, I have going in the fifth round at 110. Jair Brown, the safety, I have going in the third round as well at pick 100. PJ Mustipher, defensive lineman, I have in the seventh round at 245. And then I have Mitch Tinsley undrafted and Juice Scruggs undrafted.
Alrighty. Next up are the Buckeyes. They had 8 people invited to the combine. It was headlined by QB CJ Stroud, followed by Jackson Smith-Njigba, and then offensive lineman Paris Johnson, DeJuan Jones, and Luke Wappler. Defensive lineman Zach Harrison, and then 2 defensive backs, Cam Brown and Ronnie Hickman Jr.
All right, let's kick off.
The
CJ
Kremlin.
Stroud. CJ Stroud, don't pay attention to what you're reading in the news. Pay attention when they say his name, number 2 to the Houston Texans. I wish he would fall to 4, but he's going number 2. Paris Johnson Jr., I have round 1, number 11 to the Titans. Jackson Smith-Njigba, I have joining CJ Stroud at pick 12 in the Houston Texans. DeJuan Jones fell out of the first round for me to the Steelers, round 2, pick 32. Luke Weipler, Jacksonville, round 256. Zach Harrison to the Baltimore Ravens, round 4, 124. Ronnie Hickman to the Giants, round 5, 160. And I have Cameron Brown as a UDFA.
Alrighty, Drew. Lost you there for a second, Drew.
All right, we're back. All right. I think Paris Johnson is the best player in this group. I have Paris Johnson going 9th to the Chicago Bears. CJ Stroud, I have going 4th to the Indianapolis Colts.
Let's go.
Jackson Smith-Njigba, I agree, is going number 12 to Houston. DeJuan Jones, I have in the second round going to the LA Rams at 36. Zach Harrison, I have in the third round going to Tennessee at 72. Luke Weipler, I have going in the second round to the Jacksonville Jaguars at 56. Ronnie Hickman, I have in the fifth round going to the New York Football Jets at 143. And Cameron Brown, I have going undrafted.
Core.
So for me, I have CJ Stroud going fourth, but I have him going to the Houston Texans with a trade from the Colts. I have Paris Johnson at 9 to the Chicago Bears as well. Jackson Smith and Jigba, surprisingly, I have him in Houston with CJ Stroud at pick number 12. DeJuan Jones, to me, if could end up going at the end of the first round for me. And I have him going 29 to the New Orleans Saints. Zach Harrison to me is just a late third round pick. So to me, probably like 88. Luke Weipler, I think is potentially one of the better centers in this draft. So I think he has got a lot of upside. And I have him going the first pick in the second round to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ronnie Hickman is a sixth round pick to me. I didn't really have a pick number for that, just somewhere in the sixth round. And then Cameron Brown is undrafted.
Alrighty. Last but not least, the Wolverines topped the Big Ten with 9 invited to the Combine. They started off headlined with wide receiver Ronnie Bell, tight end Luke Schoonmaker, offensive lineman Ryan Hayes, Olu Oluwatimi, defensive lineman Mike Morris, and Mozzie Smith, defensive back DJ Turner II, kicker Jake Moody, and then punter Brad Robbins.
All right, where to start? I got Mozzie Smith as my highest rated Michigan player. I have him going round 1 to the Kansas City Chiefs at 31. I got DJ Turner going round 2 to the Steelers at 49. I also have Luke Schoonmaker going round 2 to the Miami Dolphins at 51. And then I've got Oluwatimi going to the Bills round 2 at 59, which brings me to Ronnie Bell going to your Cleveland Browns round 3, pick 98. I've got Moody going in the 5th round to the San Francisco 49ers at 173.
Nice.
Brad Robbins undrafted. Ryan Hayes coming to the Colts round 5, 175. And I'm closing out this draft. Mike Morris to the Carolina Panthers round 4, 132.
Alrighty, Drew.
I agree. I also have Mozzie Smith as the best of this group. I have Mozzie going in the first round to the Saints at 29. Then I have DJ Turner in the second round going to the New England Patriots at 46. Oluwatimi in the third round going to San Francisco at 102. Ryan Hayes, same. I got him 5th round, Indianapolis, 175. Ronnie Bell, 6th round, New England, 184. Mike Morris, 4th round, Atlanta, 110. Luke Schoonmaker, 4th round, Seattle at 123. Kicker number 1, Jake Moody, 5th round, Tennessee at 157. And then Brad Robbins, I have going in the 7th round to the LA Rams at 223.
Another
Load 'em up.
punter.
Load them up. Take them all.
Okay.
take
So
one.
for me, I think the biggest.
Corey, before you go, as what's his name on the league said, This is the kicker's year. It's a year for kickers.
Yeah, it's a year of the kicker. So for me, I think the person who's rising up draft boards really fast is DJ Turner, just from his combine speed, being the fastest guy at the combine. So for me, I have him in the second round at pick 45. Mozzie Smith, I have going 27 in the first round to the Buffalo Bills. Oluwatimi, I think potentially could be the number one center there. It's just kind of up in the air. No one really knows who the best one is. But I have him also going in the third round at pick 101. Ryan Hayes, to me, is a fifth round pick as well. I have him going at 170. Ronnie Bell, I think, is going to slide down. I think injuries potentially, people are afraid with his knee. So to me, he is a late sixth round pick, around the 190 mark. Mike Morris, I think, is a guy who is big, but he was not really as dominant as he should have been for his size. And to me, I think he goes undrafted. Luke Schoonmaker, to me, is a third round pick. Don't have a range for him, just he's a third round pick at some point. Jake Moody, I think, hopefully will end up with the Detroit Lions, either in the fourth or fifth round. And then Brad Robbins. Punters don't usually get drafted unless you go to Iowa. So undrafted.
Unless you're the Rams, dude. The
Unless
Rams.
Well,
The
yeah,
Rams.
maybe, yeah, the Rams maybe.
The
Rams.
Rams
Clean
love drafting
house.
punters.
At least 3 or 4 this draft.
one around.
Definitely. Before we get out of here, guys, because I know it's getting late here for us, I do just want to go over. So in 2022, here was the breakdown over the Power 5 conferences of total athletes drafted. The SEC at 65, the Big Ten followed with 48. The Big 12 and Pac-12 are both tied at 25, and the ACC was at 21. Do you think this is the year the Big Ten regains that most players drafted in the NFL draft title? Do they get that crown back?
I'm
I'm gonna say no.
gonna say no. Be close,
I think
but
they're
no.
I think the Big Ten has very good top tier talent, maybe better than the SEC. But once you get in those middle rounds, that's when all the SEC players go. And I just
Absolutely.
think there's too many eligible SEC players compared to the Big Ten that could be drafted.
I
Definitely.
agree.
I could
I
agree with
agree.
that. I agree with that. One other thing, let's say you heard it here first. Ethan, who is the number 1 overall draft pick come tomorrow night? Who does Roger Goodell say?
With the first pick in the NFL draft, the Carolina Panthers select Bryce Young, quarterback, Alabama.
Drew, do you agree?
100%. Bryce Young all day.
Corey?
People were talking about Will Levis potentially. He was telling his family and friends that he was going number 1 overall. He's not. Bryce Young is going number 1 overall.
Don't be surprised. You heard it here first. It will be Will Levis, number 1. And it will be another
no.
Baker Mayfield situation down there in Carolina. But they probably will take Bryce.
You might as well call out Anthony Richardson at 1.
Oh, I've heard some crazy things coming out here. Like AR might go 2 to the Texans, or could the Colts trade up to take him? I've heard the Colts may trade up to number 2 to take Will Levis over the Texans. Right now the rumor mill is crazy with the draft. I think this is going to be a good year for the Big Ten in the draft. I definitely think we're going to have a lot of players go in the first round and the second round. And I do think we're going to get a lot of players drafted. Maybe not more than the SEC, but we'll be there.
We'll be there.
Any final thoughts from you guys?
Possibly 10 or more picks in the first round for the Big Ten this year. That's huge. A lot of top end talent. Hopefully, we can build on that.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's probably like 8 to 10 Big Ten players that could go in the first round. We could make up a third of the first round. It could be.
And it's not just Michigan and Ohio State; it's the smaller schools in the Big Ten that are making
Yeah,
the
dude.
first rounders.
Absolutely. Well, I'm gonna leave it on this note. Close the show here on our draft special here on this note. As it was once said by a wise man, Vontae Mack, no matter what. Have a good night,
No
everybody.
matter what.